Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this, our fifth lesson within the cycle of six that make up this particular series of training on reporting and marketing administration. Today, we're going to be looking at creation of a simple marketing campaign. And so I'm going to step forward on this. I'm going to move really quite quickly because there's a lot to cover on this, but it is building on some of the information that we've already looked on. So we will be touching on reporting. We will be touching on the idea of groups as well. We've seen aspects of that earlier in the series of training classes. Today, we're looking specifically at the idea of creating a simple marketing campaign, and within that, the idea of allocating an activity, which is an external mail merge or an external telesales call as part of a campaign activity, and also how we would then schedule internal mail merges or telesales campaigns, and seeing those reflected within inside the the activities of the campaign. Now, this lesson is being recorded and will be made available within the context of the Sage support and training YouTube channel, and it will join all the other videos that have already been added to the YouTube channel in the reporting and marketing administration course. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to come on and I'm going to look at how uh, a system administrator or an info manager, somebody who has the rights to be able to set up marketing campaigns, can come in and start that process. Now, for this, I'm using a demo user. I'm happening to use Susan May. We've been building up a set of information about from Susan May all the way through the training course. So I'm sticking with her. You can see that I've just logged on, come onto her dashboard, and where I'm going to then now go in the main menu that is the horizontal menu, coming into the marketing tabs. Now, we're only going to be looking at the campaign list within here. So that's where we're going, into campaign list. And you can see that there are some example campaigns already built within inside CRM. This is demo data, and if I just click on one of these campaigns, you can see that I've drilled down and you can look here at the campaign and you can start to get a sense of what this is trying to do. Now, it's providing a measurement by which we can allocate a campaign in a three-form structure. So the three-form structure is the idea that you have this overall sense of the campaign. Within that, a series of phases or waves, and within the phase or the wave, you have the activities that are carried out. So the individual activities would be, say, send a mail shot, but that would form part of the structure of a particular phase within inside the overall campaign. And these campaigns may have an overall budget with then sub-budgets allocated down to each of the phases and to the individual activities. This allows you to be able to start to get a measure of where your marketing spend is begetting the most effective use. There is this long-standing joke within marketing going back to the 19th century, which is I know that 50% of my advertising doesn't work, but I don't know which 50% doesn't work. Well, Sage CRM does allow you to start to address that. You can see at the bottom part of the screen what I've just done is I've turned on the analysis, and you can see that I'm showing the analysis, and it's showing you where all of the different wave activities are linked to outputs such as an opportunity, such as a communication, such as a lead being generated. And these start to allow you to get a measure of, well, there we are. I've built a marketing campaign. It will have cost me, say, £10,000, but my sales have resulted in over £50,000 coming in this quarter, and it's generated then residual revenue of however much as well. So you can start to use the marketing features inside Sage CRM for being able to get a real sense of the return on investment. Now, I've returned to the top of the screen, and what I wanted to do now is to just drill into where we're looking at our individual individual ways. So I've expanded to show everything, and I'm going to now start to see the effect of where wave activities are linked in to, say, an existing opportunity, or where you can start to see they're reportable. So I've just switched across into advanced find, and I'm going to switch across looking at opportunities and use an existing advanced find that I've set up. But I can search, and you can see where I'm searching here is for any of the records in the opportunity table that are associated with a wave activity or a wave item. Here you can see all of the values, all of the opportunities are here, and those opportunities will be associated with particular campaigns, will have an associated value with them, and that means you can then go, and as you can see, I've drilled down into the opportunity, and you can see on this opportunity summary screen where I've got a campaign and wave activity listed here. So that means that individual items inside your commercial sales side can be tagged into the marketing campaign. And if I go into reports, I go into the sales reports, and I can run something like here. Well, I'm actually gone into the marketing area. Let me choose the bottom one. So I use the report here to be able to run a report to see what's involved here. Straight away, I can start to see these are the opportunity generated by a particular campaign. So I'm able to bring everything together. I'm able to start to understand the point about the campaigns within Sage CRM is to be able to understand where it ties in with the end result of the sales. So it allows you to build the activities, it allows you to manage the workflow for those activities, but more importantly, it allows you to be able to demonstrate the return on investment. And if I close that down, and this time I return back into the campaign list, I'm going to go through that process of creating such a campaign. Now, this is going to be a simple, very simple campaign. And so I need to click new, and this is where I start to fill in the details. And you can see that what I've done is I've given it a name. I'm going to try and give it a logical structure to what this is, representing this. Culturally, within an organization, it makes sense to try and give campaigns clear, structured names, so you can then find those campaigns and associate the particular wave activities, etc., with those. So it does pay into that. And you can see as well that I want this to run from a particular start date to an end date, with the activities then will be falling within a measurable period. We've met the idea of reporting earlier on with historical reports. We can see effectively how a particular report runs, or how a particular campaign runs. I've also given it a budget, and I've marked it as something that is pending, because there is a workflow that is associated with marketing, and you can see here on the right hand side that it is something that it is customizable. So within the context of workflow, it is possible to fine-tune, to make making marketing workflow to be exactly what you need it to be. So it's all an extendable feature here as well. We have examples of how to do that within the community, to showing you how you can take the marketing feature a little bit further. But what I need to do now is start to build the phases within inside this particular campaign. So I choose to create a new wave. I need to give it a name, as you can see here, and I need to save it then. And I've allocated this a budget as well. The business, though, of a marketing campaign is carried out by the activities. And you'll see that we have a general set of what these activities are as I come to create a new activity. So we basically have this idea of external actions and internal actions. This training session is going to look at these first four actions: the external mail merge, the external telesales, and the idea of then the internal mail merge and the internal telesales campaign. For the idea of the external, these actually essentially are just an export out of a database of those people you need to have contact with. It's the idea is that an organization may well be using a fulfillment house. So if you are, in this particular case, thinking of sending a brochure out to all of the people within your database, you may actually want to have that done by the print and fulfillment house directly, so it doesn't come from your own organization and you don't have to worry about putting the stamps on yourself. It is something that the fulfillment house will look after. And there are external, obviously, marketing campaigns where you would be using an external call center as well to be able to drive that. So this is how you can share out. Now, in my case, I'm going to only use the idea of the external mail merge as the example of that export. And you can see that it works on the basis that what we're doing is that we provide it with a short name, we provide a description to it. There is a sense of when this activity is being carried out, because again, this is workflowed. It is something that you will do at some point. So you need to create a window for when that should be done. And then you can see as well that there is a group, which is the data that will be sent out. Now, groups are interesting, and I'll mention this in the game once we have seen the action, but bear in mind that this is now a group that is associated with this. So I choose that and I can save this, and I can now start to think about the next behavior that I want to add in. You can see that I don't need to add in me. I'm showing my analysis, but of course this is brand new setup and my analysis doesn't make sense here at the moment because I've got no actual results associated with it. We'll see that disappear in a moment. Here we are. And if I step on and I click into continue, we can now start to create the next activity. All of these activities will have their own essential workflow behavior associated with them. That's a little out of scope of today's lesson, the design of that, but it is just workflow, just like any of the other designs of workflow that you can look at and understand how that's been created. Here, I'm now starting to look at the alternative. If we're going to create a mail merge, but this time deliver the campaign internally, it's going to be something that we run as the mail merge internally. So that's what we choose. And I can now fill in the rest of the details. Very similar, the idea that there's going to be a cost for something, a budget allocated to it, and it's got to have a group associated with it. When it comes to the actual implementation, we'll see that when we perform the workflow action, we can change exactly what it is that we are using in terms of the group. So there can be interaction between the different workflow stages gradually as you create groups from the interactions with your marketing campaign. You can fine tune exactly who you're communicating to. But this allows us now to have allocated our campaign. So if I save that, I need to continue to be able to create the next and final of my workflow actions. And then we can start to see what these bits of behavior are doing. So I'm going to now create a new workflow action. And this time I'm choosing the idea of the internal telesales. And so if I complete the details of this, you can see that, so I'm using another group. I'm using a description. It will have a cost associated with it. And I can simply now choose to save. These all have their workflow actions, but to actually start to understand, let's work through our campaign in a more logical way. So I'm going to continue out of this, and we're back up at the level of the phase. And if I click up, you can see that I've continued up, and I'm now looking at it overall from the overall campaign itself. Now, notice that there are hyperlinks on this page. So I don't have to go first of all into the wave. I can go straight into the wave activity that I'm interested in performing. So this might be my marketing campaign, but what I want to do next is to go straight in and choose to be able to carry out the particular behavior. And you can see that I've got the workflow button on the right hand side of the screen. And so that's what I'm going to just click on. This is my external mail merge. And so this is starting that process, and it's asking me to confirm the group that I'm using for the export. So if I choose save, I'm just needing to confirm what it is that I'm exporting to. So I'm giving a file name, and I have a choice of sending it out as text, two forms of CSV, whether it's designed specifically for Excel or just a plain CSV. And if I then click on save, I can see that actually I've just missed the screen here. I was expecting and it hasn't popped up a screen telling me that's in process of the download of a particular of the actual spreadsheet that has been generated, the CSV file. So let's see if I can switch over. I've switched over here, and I'm in focus just to look at what's created as the download, and you can see that it's created for me a CSV file. And if I click to look at that, you can see here, this is the details. Now, the columns that are included in the export is a product of the group that is used. So you design your group, pick the columns that you want to be included in the output of the group, and then that is the thing that is exported. So here, I chose actually a group which wasn't particularly useful for a fulfillment house in order to be able to send anyone their addresses, but I have nevertheless demonstrated how a group's content is sent out as a result of being used as the basis for the external mail merge. Now, if I switch back into Sage CRM, here you can see that I am setting up I'm setting up an actual record of a communication. So here I can provide for any of the members of that group a record that they were communicated with as part of a marketing campaign. So it fills in the actual details. So if I now step forward, I'm going to complete the details. You can see that I've just given myself some details, description. I filled in and said that this is a complete action. It's not something that's pending. This has been done. It's been sent to the fulfillment house with the idea that all of these people will be receiving their communication. And I am able to just ensure that the communication is saved and sent. Now, all of those communications are associated with the particular wave activity. And I can see that this is now a completed action. But if I go into the communications tab within this wave activity summary, so I started off with the wave activity. Here I'm looking at the communications. It's showing me the fact that a merge has been taking place. It's generated and output the file. So it's in the track record of everything that we're doing with inside the marketing campaign. And if I go off now to go and search for a company, I know one of these companies has been used within inside the campaign. I'm not so much interested in the company itself. I'm interested in the communications that have taken place. And you can see here, therefore, it's recording against each of these companies that a communication has been generated as part of their marketing campaign. So if I go back into my marketing list, I can now complete this by, I can carry on, I should say, with the marketing campaign by looking back down into my campaign that I've been building and looking at the next activity. So this is if I was to generate the mail merge from within inside Sage CRM. And you can see that, so this is the internal mail merge, and you'll notice that I've defined the group as before, and you can see the action over on the right-hand side to be able to kick off that behavior. So this workflow behavior. So if I click, you can see that it's asking me to confirm the group that I'm using for the mail merge. And if I now click save, I'm now having to pick the template that I will use for the mail merge. So if I choose and just click one of those templates, you can see that it loads up into my screen, and I could change this before carrying out the actual merge. So if I actually merge and continue, you can see the merge is being carried out, and eventually we get this screen allowing us to confirm whether or not we want to create a communication. So I want to create a communication. So I step on into the next screen, and you can see that I need to fill in some of the details here, and I fill in the details. Now, everything that we've done here is part of the is a communication that has gone out. It's a communication record that is recorded, and I can mark it as whether it's a completed communication, etc., which it is, because it's an email that it's a mail merge that has been sent. So if I save this, I can now think about the next action that I want to take, and I've returned back up to my top campaign listing screen. So I'm looking at the actual full campaign, and here I can now go in and have a look at this idea of my in my telesales. So I can start to schedule some calls, and I can determine which group I'm using again. So it's a confirmation, and here I can have a more complex screen, but this is based on the communication screen, allowing me to be able to say, well, this particular set of telephone calls that needs to be carried out is going to be carried out about this team or this group of people. So you can start to see that I could use it as an individual or a group of people. So here I can start to choose that actually it's going to be a couple of us who are going to be making these calls. And The way in which the calls are distributed from the list of items within inside the call list is either to do it on the basis of a round robin or just as a simple list. So round robin is the even distribution across all of the names within inside the list. Otherwise, some people may or may not get any responsibility for making the calls. But here you can see that I'm able to record this and we can confirm again with that campaigns area that this particular call is going to be tied into that campaign that you're doing. And if I now step forward by saving this, it's warning me that it is creating how many communications. A lot of communications being scheduled here, but it's actual scheduled this, and now it's in the process of being able to use this. So if I go off and have a look at what we've done here, these are the communications that have just been scheduled. I've clicked the communications tab again. All of these are the scheduled communications. And so if I go and examine one of those companies, and here I think it's Eurolandia that I need to come across to. So looking at Eurolandia, I can look at the communications tab. Lots of communications with this particular customer already, but you can see that there is one of the calls scheduled. So if I click on just one of these, this is the call, and notice please that this is the text that we were using, and it is linked there to our campaign as well. So imagine we've made this telephone call. I want to scroll, while filling in some details, I scroll down. Do you notice how now in this I can indicate that there is sorry, I need to go back. You can see that there is this button that says at the bottom, follow-up action to create an opportunity. So I have done some work in my communication. I've confirmed the telephone call that I've had, or the correspondence that I've had with this person, and I mark it as saying that they're interested. I've done my due diligence. I'm marking that as a follow-up opportunity. And so now if I save that, it comes up and it looks like I'm creating an opportunity. So if I fill in the details, you'll notice that it has already passed over and given me a link into that wave activity. So it has tied in here very neatly the behavior. So if I fill in the details of my opportunity and save that, I've now got an opportunity that of status lead. And so if I switch back into my reporting for my particular group, of where I'm looking at my particular campaign group, I'm looking down into my campaign, I can now turn on the analysis and I can show that I am starting to get an effect from this campaign. I know how many communications have been generated, and I know how many opportunities that have been generated. And from that, I would also be able to start to see the total value of the opportunities that have been created. Plus, I would be able to know the budgeted cost of the campaign versus the actual cost of the actions that in there. So I would use all of this information really for my return on investment calculation, answering that question of what is the most effective use of my marketing budget. That is it for that particular lesson. What we're going to be looking at next is we're going to be looking at the development on that idea of the outbound calls, where we were scheduling our own telesales calls. We're now looking at a feature called outbound calls, which is a much more sophisticated way of being able to interact with telesales, and you will be exploring that in the course of tomorrow's lesson. So let's see if anyone has got any questions. Well, I'm going to say thank you very much, everyone, for coming along and joining me today. I do hope that it has been a useful session for you. Our last lesson for the series is tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you all, and goodbye.